He started saying that he thought I didn't trust him. And he was right. But I didn't want him to know this just yet, 'cause I was having fun with it. Then he says, "Prove it. If you trust me, cut your hand a tiny bit and send me a pic." I'd been trapped in my house for 7 days because the coronavirus was here and I had nothing to do. My parents would just sit downstairs while I'd watch YouTube. Sit on my bed, read books, watch YouTube. Sit on my bed, read books, watch YouTube. Sit on my bed, read books. I'd never been so bored before. I even wish I could be back at school. One day, I decided I was gonna go look for some chat rooms. I wished I could speak with my friends on them, but they're not allowed on. Their parents have blocked them because they say they're dangerous. I'm not really sure what my parents think of them, but I thought to myself, well, if I don't ask them, then they can't say no. I'd not been in chat rooms before and I felt kind of nervous, like I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, but it was the only thing I had left to do to stop my boredom. I sat up in my bed, clutching my phone as I navigated to Google and began typing, "online chat rooms for kids." The list was endless, and there were definitely some really strange ones that I shouldn't have been looking at. I found one that was just random chats for kids, so I decided to sign up. As soon as I joined, I started getting messages. Pop, 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 pop. Some of them were really creepy, so I just stayed in the main room. After a while of chatting with a girl called Sam, I accepted her private message because she seemed nice. But as soon as I accepted her, she asked if I could send her a picture of me. I wasn't gonna do that, so I blocked her straight away. I was getting sick of this, and I was ready to log off when I noticed someone come into the chat. It was a message that read, "Hey everyone, I know how much of a hard time it is at the moment with the coronavirus, and if anyone needs to talk, I am a counselor and I help kids with depression." I decided to stick around in the main room, where we all chatted about how we felt. I don't have depression, but I thought it was great that he was doing that, so I stuck around to chat. Before logging off for the night, I sent him a message saying, "Hey, great job helping people with crazy coronavirus. Thanks." The next morning, I reached for my phone and had a notification. It was a message from the counselor. "Hello there. You are welcome. It is what I do for a job, so if you ever need anyone to talk to about any issues you have, I'm always here." I didn't really need to reply to him, but I decided I was going to. I was interested in what he was doing and how he helped people. I completely lost track of time just sitting there glued to my phone, one message after another, when suddenly, "Jess, it's lunchtime. Come and get some food quickly," my mom called. This gave me a real shock. I looked over to my clock and it was 12:30. I couldn't believe it. After my lunch, I went straight back into my room. He wasn't online anymore, but I did have another message from him. "Hey, I'm going into my work now, but if you want, you can find me on Snapchat. I sometimes use it to show kids with depression some of my animals as it really helps them." I didn't see any harm in it, and he was a good person, so I decided to download Snapchat and add him. We spoke for a few days there, and he did send me some pictures of his animals. Then one night, I said bye, and he replied with, "Bye, babe." Bye, babe? Why did he just call me that? I turned up my phone and threw it down as fast as I could. The next morning, I woke up and thought I'd had a bad dream. But then I looked at my phone, and it was right where I had tossed it the night before. I slowly turned it on. My heart was beating like a drum. I really didn't want to see any more messages from him. And then my phone beeped. My heart missed a beat, and I felt nervous, like I was going to be sick. As I opened the message, I saw the message from the night before, and then a new one that read, "Morning, babe. Hope to speak to you today." Ugh! No way! I was freaking out! I took a screenshot of it and sent it to my friend who was a year older than me. She replied saying, "Haha, Go along with it and act like you're not scared, but don't give him anything. I decided I would do this, just for a bit, and then I would tell my parents what he had said to me. So I replied with just, "Morning." As soon as my message had gone through, he was back at me with another question. This went on all morning, with creepy words in all of his questions. Sweetie, darling, babe. Why was he saying these things? He knew how old I was. I told him when we first spoke. Later in the day, he started saying that he thought I didn't trust him. And he was right. I didn't want him to know this just yet, because I was kind of having fun with it. Then he said, "Prove it. If you trust me, cut your wrist a tiny bit and send me a pic." No way. Why would I do that? I told him, "No, I won't cut myself, but I will do whatever else you want me to do." And as soon as I typed that, I regretted it. I knew it was stupid. I was so scared of what it was going to be. Then he said it. Strip butt naked and send me a video. I was dying to come out and say, "Heck no, you creep!" But I decided to mess with him some more. I tried to change the subject and said, "Do you like me?" He said, "Yes." Then he went straight back in, asking for the video, becoming more and more pushy. I told him I would, but later tonight after my parents went to bed. I thought that would shut him up, but it didn't. He started asking for a pic of me fully clothed so he can see what he was waiting for. Ugh, gross! I told him, "No, you have to wait." After that, he started asking me if I liked older guys, and I do not at all. But of course I said yes. He asked me how much older, and my answer was, "Oh, like 2 to 3 years older?" Knowing that he must be much older than that. Then he says, "Aw, I guess you won't like me then." I asked how old he was, and he said, "I'm 39, but I look younger." I screamed in my head and was nearly sick in my mouth when he said that. A few minutes of silence passed, and then a message pops up. "Do you still like me?" he asks. At this point, I had enough. There was no way he was getting any pics from me. So I replied, "No, you creep. This has been a prank the whole time to see what you really wanted. You said you were a counselor and you lied." He snapped me back a really mean snap and told me I was a bad person and said I should be ashamed at what I'd done. I didn't feel bad for what I'd done at all. He knew I was 11. He was the bad person. I just wanted to make sure he didn't do it to anyone else. I decided to tell my parents what had happened, and then they could call the police and tell them about this man. I sat down on the couch between them. They were glued to watching something on Netflix. I started talking and got to the point of a man calling me babe on the internet. My dad reaches for the control and pauses his show. His head turns to me and says, "What did you just say?" I repeated it and continued the story. My dad was furious with this man, but at first with me as well for not coming to them sooner. My mom flung her arms around me and squeezed me tightly. I was happy to tell them I just outsmarted this guy, and my dad was angry and my mom was sad. My parents explained to me how dangerous what I had just done was, and that there are some very bad people on the internet waiting to groom children to make them do nasty things, and sometimes even kidnap them. My mom has now blocked me from going on the chat rooms just like my friends, unless she is with me or she knows they're definitely safe. Now that I look back on it, what I did was dangerous. And if I ever see it again, I will report them and tell my parents straight away. The internet is full of bad people who prey on children every day. This doesn't only apply to girls either. Boys can be just as vulnerable to these predators. If you think someone is speaking to you inappropriately, then you need to report them straight away to your parents or the police. In this story, the submitter knew all along it would go no further and had her boundaries. But sometimes jokes start off seeming like a bit of fun, but then they can quickly go too far and become dangerous. In recent years, the internet has exploded, giving access to people of all ages from all around the world. You need to remember you don't always know who you are speaking with. Predators are out there disguised in the crowd of internet chat rooms and forums, waiting to prey on children, both male and female. It has never been easier for predators to share images and videos around the internet, and in the worst cases, groom children into meets, leading them into abduction and sex trafficking. While governments around the world are battling to stop this, many are overwhelmed by the sheer number of predators out there. This has led to independent groups of professionals in many fields setting up to help make a change. One of these groups